Hey guys, Sukhdeep here. So, a lot of you seem to really like my previous Apple Music versus Spotify comparison video. So, today I thought I'd go over five problems, you could say, that you might encounter when using Apple Music in 2024. Now, I've been an avid user of Apple Music for over 6 years now, and whilst there are many things that I love about the platform, there are some aspects which aren't so great. So, without further ado, let's dive straight into them. Okay, so the first problem that you might encounter with Apple Music is the scarcity of personalized playlists. You hear people talk all the time about how Spotify is so much better than Apple Music when it comes to music discovery. And I think a big part of that comes down to the fact that Spotify just gives you so many different playlists which are made just for you. Whether that's your daily mixes, the artist mixes, genre mixes, era mixes, there are just so many different ways to discover new music. Whereas with Apple Music, the most you really get are a set of four made for you playlists, which only update once a week. And realistically, only the Get Up mix actually recommends music that I enjoy listening to. Now, there are rumors that Apple might be bringing AI capabilities to Apple Music in iOS 18 later this year. And one of those capabilities could allow you to automatically generate mixed playlists using AI. So I am hoping that in a few months' time, this issue will have been fixed. Another thing which annoys me about Apple Music is the fact that there is currently no concert discovery feature within the app. And this is a feature that Spotify has had for years, where if you scroll through an artist's page or through one of their songs, you'll see the dates and locations for any concerts nearby to you. And there's even a link to where you can purchase them. And it just blows my mind that Apple Music doesn't yet have this because I feel like Apple have sort of positioned themselves as being the more artist oriented platform out there. Like, they pay their artists, I think it's two times more than Spotify does per stream. They do all of these interviews with artists. Hell, they even have Apple Music Live, where they send people to record artist concerts live there. And yet, there is no way of discovering when an artist might be running a concert nearby, at least inside of the Apple Music app. And I say within the app because if you head into Shazam, which is technically owned by Apple, there is literally a tab for concert discovery. And if you go into an artist's official page, you can view their upcoming concerts. But realistically, how many people are actually using Shazam for that kind of information? Like, I feel like at that point, you may as well just go online onto Ticketmaster and find the tickets for yourself. So, yeah, Apple really does just need to find a way to, I guess you could say, import that functionality directly into Apple Music at some point, which I am confident that they will do, or else I don't think that they would have gone to the effort of actually building this feature into Shazam in the first place. But yeah, for now, the lack of this feature is something that confuses me a lot. But what confuses me even more is the terrible UI that the Apple Music app has on the Mac. And it's quite funny because Apple, I feel, are traditionally known for having very clean, minimal, and aesthetic designs. And if you look at the way that they've executed the iPad app, I think it's incredible. It's one of the reasons why I actually prefer Apple Music over other music streaming platforms like Spotify, because the user interface is just so much cleaner and nicer looking. But then, if we jump into the Mac, I mean, it's just a bit bland and uninspiring, especially if we compare it to Spotify. I mean, on the Mac, Spotify just looks a lot more exciting. It feels as though the app actually has some life to it, is the best way I can describe it, where you can actually click on the album titles to directly view the albums, or you can click on the artist's name to actually go into the artist's homepage. Everything just feels and looks a lot more organized. Whereas, if we go into Apple Music, you can just tell that this was just built on the old iTunes platform. It feels like a bit of a legacy product. And in fact, there are a lot of Apple Music features that you actually can't use inside of the Mac app. So, one of those is Apple Music Karaoke, which essentially allows you to adjust the vocals of the song you're listening to leave you with the instrumental for that track. Now, right now, that feature only works on the iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV, and not the Mac. Or take listening history. In iOS 17, there's now an option where you can toggle off your listening history whenever you're in a specific focus mode. So, for example, whenever I study, I like to listen to a lot of film music and have the Avengers theme blasting in the background. But of course, I don't want that to really influence my music recommendations. So, what I can do on my iPad is set my focus mode to study. And in my settings, I've set a filter that automatically turns off my listening history whenever I'm in this focus mode. However, this feature is currently not available on the Mac. It's almost like Apple just completely forgot that the Mac version of Apple Music even existed. And the worst part about all of this is the fact that the Windows version of Apple Music actually has a decent looking design to it. So if I head into applemusic.com and I open their web version of the app, you see, this is essentially what I think a modern day Apple Music app should look like. All of the links are responsive, everything you interact with just looks a lot cleaner. So yeah, I really think that Apple just needs to completely redesign the Apple Music app on the Mac from the ground up. Another thing that bugs me about Apple Music is the fact that it can feel quite buggy and laggy at times, especially on the Mac. For some reason, the Mac app just takes forever to load and play different tunes. And I don't know if this is a software issue or an issue with Apple Music itself, but there are a lot of times where I'll select a song from my playlist and Apple Music just straight up refuses to play that song. And in many cases, I have to force quit and restart the app to get it to work. And this is something that I experience across all of my devices, my iPhone, my iPad, and my MacBook. And it's something that I don't really experience too much with other streaming services like Spotify. And in fact, one of Spotify's most famous achievements is the fact that it plays back songs with extremely low latency of just 265 milliseconds on average, which for all intents and purposes is basically imperceivable to the human ear. And so what this means is that as soon as you tap onto a song, it instantly plays. Whereas with Apple Music, you can kind of tell that there's a bit of a delay going on. I don't know what the exact latency is, but it feels like it's taking about half a second to a second to actually play the song that I wanted to play, which makes the platform feel quite slow. However, I think the biggest disappointment with Apple Music is its lack of continuity between Apple devices. So, for example, if I have some music playing on my MacBook and I want to quickly hand over that music to my iPhone, there's currently no way that you can do that. The closest thing you can do is to use AirPlay, which lets you stream your iPhone or your iPad's audio directly to your Mac or Apple TV and control it from both devices. However, this only works from iPhone or iPad to the Mac and not the other way around. So I couldn't hand over music from my iPad to my iPhone or my MacBook to my iPad or my iPad to my Apple Watch. And I think this is a really big shame because Spotify has had this feature for years. It's called Spotify Connect, which lets you control the music playback on other devices connected to your Spotify account, which is a really useful feature if you're, say, running a house party and you need to control a set of house speakers directly from your phone. And it's quite surprising because Apple are traditionally known for having very strong ecosystem integration where you can hand over content from one device to another really seamlessly. But for some reason, they appear to have been unable to figure this out for Apple Music. And the worst part about this is that if I play a song on my MacBook and then I play another song on my iPhone, I keep getting these annoying pop ups telling me to subscribe to Apple Music's family plan. And it's like, I don't think that I should have to pay for a family plan just to play music from multiple devices that are all connected to the same iCloud account. So, if you are thinking of switching to Apple Music in 2024, these are some of the issues which you might encounter and which you should bear in mind. If you'd like to know more about how I personally go about discovering new music on Apple Music, then you can find a link to that video somewhere at the top here. Consider leaving a like to support the channel if you found this video helpful and subscribe for the next one.